What's up, y'all? I am happy, man. My name is Kenny Petty. Happy to be here with my dear brother from
Yeah.
City Light Church, the
Yes.
pastor, Brian Crawford, man, in Vicksburg,
Yes, sir.
Mississippi, man. Never been there. Want to get to Mississippi, some of that good down home cooking, but more importantly, man, just to hang with my brother, man. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. And you let me know when you want to come to the SIP, man. We'd be happy to have you, brother.
You know I'll be there, man,
Yes,
because I know
sir.
your shoe game is tight. And check this out, man. Why don't you tell the people, man, a little bit about your story, man, and the story of the church, brother?
Yeah, man. So Brian Crawford, native of Vicksburg, born in Saginaw, Michigan, but my family moved to Vicksburg really early in my life, man. That's where home is. That's where all the family, parents, grandparents, all that. I grew up in the church, man. My dad, um, after coming out of prison, man, immediately we noticed a change in his life. And the first thing he did, Kenny, when he came out of prison, is he found us a church home, man. We got planted, began to labor and serve. The Lord raised him up into the ministry, man. He became a church planter himself.
Wow.
And he planted 15 minutes
Wow.
outside of Vicksburg in a little small town called Tallulah, Louisiana, about 8,000 people that he just had a heart to see reach, man. And so I spent time and grew up as a pastor's kid and as a planter's kid, watching the Lord do work, watching a man and his wife pour their lives out for Jesus and for his bride and for his people and for a
Wow.
community. And so it
Wow.
was in my DNA, man. Even though I tried to run,
Yeah.
I was a prototypical preacher's kid. You look up in the dictionary for preacher's kid, you're going to see a picture of me. I'm trying to run as far away as I possibly
Wow.
can from that role, from that calling. But the Lord had other things, man. The Lord had other things in mind. And so
Wow.
17, 18 years old, man, I gave my life to the Lord. Senior year, man, totally different. Came into the school totally different. And the Lord began to do work in my heart. So I went to school,
Wow.
Mississippi State,
Mm.
graduated in computer engineering. But while I was there, man, the Lord was really deepening my hunger and my thirst for the word and my hunger and my thirst for his bride.
Wow.
And so I came back to Vicksburg and started laboring and serving with my dad, children's ministry, youth ministry, eventually started preaching
Wow.
on Sunday mornings. And my father was like, son, man, you need to be preaching more than I need to be preaching.
Wow.
And so we started alternating week after week. He would preach a Sunday, I would preach a Sunday. And we did that until he passed in 2011, was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain
Wow.
cancer. And so he passed. And so I labored there for a few more years, but all the while the Lord was calling me back to Vicksburg.
Wow.
And so back in 2016, the Lord really, really, really made that calling true. In
Mm.
2016, we planted out of our own house because we were living in
Wow.
Vicksburg. And so we started meeting in our house. And out of that birth City Light Church,
Wow.
intentionally multi-ethnic, intentionally interracial. We wanted to see kingdom DNA
Yeah.
in the city in that way. Of course, the kingdom's represented in Mississippi, no doubt about it, and the kingdom's represented in Vicksburg. But we wanted to see that unique kingdom DNA of a multi-ethnic,
Yeah.
multiracial, Revelations 5, Revelations 7
Whoa.
church
Whoa.
that exists in our city. And so we moved towards that, and the Lord gave us that fruit immediately.
Wow.
And so City Light Church is roughly about 60% white, 40% black and
Whoa.
brown. And it's been that way since its inception.
Wow.
And God has been faithful, man. God has been incredibly faithful. Got a beautiful bride of 21 years. Candy will be 21 in November.
Man,
I got two
awesome woman
boys,
of God.
19, BJ.
Wow.
And then my youngest, Elijah's 13. He'll be 14 in August. And so God has been blessing, man. We got great favor.
Man, hey, BC, man, that's what I call you, Brian, Pastor Brian, man. I'm so excited, man, about the work and the reputation of City Light Church precedes you, man. Since I've known you, you hear people talk about the work that you're doing, not only in the church, but in the state of Mississippi through the association, man. One of the things that I love about you is when I heard you speak, man, you speak with such clarity. There's a bit of intellectual that feeds some of what I like, but also, man, straight down to earth in a way you can relate and connect. I think that's a unique thing and that's probably why you get such a broad, diverse crowd of people. what can they expect? Like you as a man, and I've seen you love your wife well, all of that stuff. But somebody coming in, your leadership style or your pastoral leadership, what can they expect when they come into City Light Church?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I bring a little bit of the things that you were talking about. So in terms of pastorally, you know, I was I'm an engineering guy. You know, went to school computer engineering in Mississippi State. So you're gonna hear a little headiness in my preaching. That's just the way I'm wired.
Love it.
Um, but man, I grew up Hamilton Heights. You know, which was hood. You
Yeah.
know, and so I grew up hood. And then at the same time, I was, a product of the engineering school. And so you're going to hear kind of this flavor of intellectual mixed with a little hood.
Mhm.
And so you're going to see a lot of down to earth. I'm trying to bring the high church down, so to speak,
Wow.
into the gutters, into the neighborhood. And so you're going to hear that and feel that and see that. I'm also very intentional about thinking about my audience. It's a multicultural audience.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to pastor in a way that takes into account both black and brown
Yeah.
and my white brothers and sisters in the room, their cultures, their backgrounds, their experiences. I'm trying to take that into account and
Wow.
bring that to my pastoral care and my shepherding of our church. And so you're going to see a lot of that. And you're going to see a lot of commitment from me to move past just multi-ethnic presence
Yeah.
where it's like we're in the same room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we kind of pat each other on the back. A lot of times, especially in Mississippi, especially in the deep South, you see people patting themselves on the back because they're like, hey, we're in the same room. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
For me, I say
Wow.
we haven't reached reconciliation or deep unity rather
Wow.
until you come to my dinner table or I come to your dinner table
Mm.
and the conversation doesn't have to change based on my presence.
Wow.
You know, we don't have to have a black and brown conversation and oh, my white friend's here. Let me shift
Yeah.
gears and let's have another dialogue. No. Unity says I can bring my black and brown brothers, I can bring my white brothers to the same table. And because we are the family of God, like the hottie always
Yes,
says, the church
yes.
isn't like family, it is family. Because we are the family of God, we should have the kind of resilience
Yeah.
that allows us to push through the difficulties of having those hard
Yes,
conversations
indeed.
that leads us to deeper empathy and deeper understanding of one another.
BC Brown, that's amazing, man. Because what I get what you said, and you said a lot, but one of the things that stuck out is, without you saying it, is I need to know the word, but I also need to know the people of God, and that there will be no compromise as I deliver the word, because actually the word does bring us all together in unity under the banner of the cross, man. I love that, man, and I love to see that fleshed out, man, as
Yeah.
you doing the work of the ministry.
AKP, one of the things that we hold dear at our church is a value that we call compassionate conviction.
Mm.
And it's the idea that we are to hold tightly the convictions that God has given us through the word, right?
Yes.
Hold those convictions tightly, but we're to hold them tightly in the way that Jesus holds them, which is with compassion.
Mm.
He came in grace and truth, according to the Gospel of John. He calls us to speak truth in love,
Yes.
according to the Apostle Paul in Ephesians.
Yes.
And so there is compassion with our conviction. The church oftentimes, when you think about conviction, the church oftentimes is leaning on the side of confidence with their conviction rather than compassion with their conviction.
Mm.
There's a tension that we have to hold.
Wow.
Be confident
Wow.
that what you're saying is true,
Wow.
but hold it with the kind of compassion that draws people to you versus repel them. Because if you get too far on the edge of confidence with your
Right.
conviction, then you become repulsive with your
Wow.
conviction. And so we're trying to keep that balance strong between confidence and compassion.
That's amazing, man. It sounds like to me that is the work of the Holy Spirit in the
Man,
life of a man of God who has a vision. You know, some of this stuff, yes, we learn and we try to do, but not in our own strength. We're so messed up in our own selves and biased and teeter to this side or the other. But the Spirit of God, man, can help us accomplish just what you're communicating, my brother. Brother, it's been a joy to see you passionate about My Boulevard.
Yeah.
And man, you one of the leaders, sit on the board of the network of churches. Tell us a little bit how you came to be a part of My Boulevard and why you're so passionate about it.
Yeah, man, I'll never forget. So back in '08, when we were celebrating, or not '08, but 18, we was celebrating MLK 50. I was in Memphis, Tennessee, celebrating MLK 50, and I got a call from our boy Sam Dula.
Yes.
Sam said, "Hey, we're about to kick off this cohort, this My Boulevard cohort. We're in another round, and man, your name came up. We want you to consider it. And I said,
Wow.
man, let me dig in. Let me learn a little bit more about it. I always loved the hottie. Always loved Sam. My god sister, actually, when she left Vicksburg, Mississippi, and she asked me for church recommendations, Blueprint was the church that I sent her to. And so we always had love and affinity for what they were doing at Blueprint in Atlanta. And so when Sam reached out, he said, man, we got another cohort coming up. Do you want to be a part of it? I said, man, sign me up. And so I got a chance to be a part of the cohort, to learn kind of just the, no pun intended, but to learn the blueprint of Boulevard. And it increased my love and affinity for what God was doing in my Boulevard. And so I just wanted to be a part of it wherever I could be, and however I could sign myself up
Wow.
to serve, I wanted to be a part of it. So I was invited back later on to serve as a coach, and then eventually to be more involved in the network. And so I couldn't be more proud of what God is doing in this network, couldn't be more proud of what God is doing in the cohorts.
Yes.
And just excited to see what's on the horizon.
Amazing, brother, man. It's amazing, man. Look, and just knowing that me and a guy like you, and this is not, you're a unique individual in my Boulevard, but the pastors, the group of brothers that surround us, man, we always affirming one another. And for me, it's like, man, if I was to be in a position to plant a church, man, how awesome it would be, how edifying, how essential would it be for me to be around a group of brothers who could kind of coach me and mentor me through, man. So it's amazing, man, and it's an honor to be co-laboring with you, brother. As far as in Mississippi, now you do local work through the local association, man. Just talk a little bit about that work that you do.
Yeah, so I'm a bivo guy, bivocational, co-vocational, if you will. And so I'm a lead pastor, of course, the City Light. But my tent making is president of Mission Mississippi.
Okay.
Mission Mississippi is a Christian nonprofit dedicated to racial healing across the state. We work and create content and training, seminars and speaking engagements that's all about trying to heal the racial divide in Mississippi.
Wow.
And so that's big work, obviously,
Yes.
in our state, given our history, given our even our current
Yeah.
predicaments,
Yeah.
right? Because even though even though by law we're integrated, there's still a sense in
Wow.
which by heart we're still wrestling with some of those things,
Yes.
and it keeps us divided, particularly on Sunday mornings.
Yes.
And so we're on the journey of trying to see again that John 17, Jesus says, or Jesus prays to the Father that we would be one as he and the Father are one. We're in the business of seeing that vision realized in our day, in our communities, in our neighborhood. And so that is very much a part of the work that I'm doing. I also
Wow.
serve as a coach for our local Mississippi network of church plants, called the 242 Network. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy just training and equipping guys for the work of ministry, prospective church planners, assessing them and assessing their readiness along with their families
Yeah.
to embark on the work of planting, and then training them, equipping them, walking with them. And My Boulevard has served in a significant way in expanding that work,
Yes.
because My Boulevard gives us something that 242 hasn't concentrated on, and that's ministering particularly to brothers who are called to minority majority context.
Wow.
Where there's black and brown and white brothers and sisters in the same space, in the same neighborhoods, and wrestling with the unique challenges that come with those spaces and with those neighborhoods. And so My Boulevard in some ways has been in partnership
Yeah.
with the 242 Network to conduct that work and equip our planters in an even stronger way than what we've done in the past.
Man, it's amazing, Pastor B, man, because I moved back to St. Louis, man, worked for a nonprofit that's been in existence now close to 20 years. And so for you to begin a nonprofit that's making impact like it is, pastoring a church, man, you equivalent to Superman, man. But we know it's the spirit of God
It's the Spirit of the
that
Lord, man.
that
Much
gives you the
grace.
strength to do, the
Much
grace to do
grace.
what you do, man. And it's marvelous in my eyes, brother. Tell the people how, if they in Vicksburg area, Mississippi, how they can come visit, see what you're doing, and even if they move into that area or live in that area, how can they get in touch with you via maybe about the church or even a nonprofit?
Absolutely, brother. CitylightVicksburg.org. CitylightVicksburg.org. We're on Facebook, social media, things of that nature. But they can go out to our website, get information, man. We would love to have them if they're driving down 20, heading to Dallas and they happen to stop in Vicksburg, man, they can come see us
Yeah.
because we're right there off the bridge. And so citylightvicksburg.org. If they would like more information on the nonprofit, it's missionmississippi.org. And so we would love for them to connect and just learn more about what we're doing in the SIP, bro.
Hey, Brian, bro, I know a book got to be coming, man. I know it's in you, man, the work that you're doing, man. And then as a leader, man, not only your swag, your shoe game is impeccable, man, but the way the Lord uses you, man, the things that I've learned from you just in conversation, the way you've encouraged my. Every time I see you, man, you're affirming, you encouraging me, man, and that's spurring me on towards the love and good works, man.
Amen,
and I love you for that, brother. And
big
it's
credit to my wife for the shoe game. I
oh,
cannot
man,
take credit.
Hey,
for
and
the
her
shoe
shoe game is crazy.
Yes,
She
you talk about impeccable.
Oh,
Her shoe game is impeccable.
indeed
Yeah,
it is. So,
yeah.
man, if you want to come learn how to get your shoe game tight and learn how to do real urban inner city urban ministry, man, in the urban core, man, come on and holler at my man Brian with my Boulevard, man. Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother.